All right, everybody, welcome to La Liga, round two of the draft wrap up. Your host, the commish, and we've got a special guest today, Isaac Lee. Thanks, Isaac, for coming on. It's great to see you.
My pleasure. My pleasure,
Coming
Commissioner.
really coming in hot on the East Division. You decided to go as far east as you could think of. Where are you at right now?
I'm in beautiful Hartford, Connecticut, in Asylum Hill, which is a neighborhood Ken has told me repeatedly not to stay in.
Well, Airbnbs, as long as you take out your own trash, it should be fine, and you don't get that fee. That's important to do.
You
Read the rules.
know,
Read the rules.
once you get inside and close the windows, it's safe.
All right. So this episode of the wrap up draft round two is brought to you by the Sleeper app. Sleeper is a fantasy football draft. And the question is, are you looking for a platform with consistent, up-to-date drafting notifications? Well, if you are, try ESPN. But our sponsor is the Sleeper app. Isaac, our first question, that the fans are really wondering, when are you going to pick your fantasy football name? And where do you get inspiration when you're naming your team?
This is a great question, Aaron. It's one that I've pondered almost not at all before you asked me. I was thinking of maybe going with something related to football, Justin Tuckering it in, but I hear he apparently is in trouble, so that's a no-go. I um I asked AI earlier if they would give me a name, and it gave me the Mandalorian McCaffreys, and I think that's just stupid.
Yeah.
Uh, so none of these are goes. Um, so what I've decided to do is open it up to an essay contest, and whoever in the league submits the most persuasive 1,000 word essay on the subject might get my team name.
Okay.
Otherwise, otherwise, I might just name it after Gilbert Brown and call myself the Gravediggers
The Gravediggers. Oh, I like the Gravediggers.
in
So
honor of the great Gilbert Brown.
a little bit of a spoiler. Can you confirm that you're not drafting Justin Tucker in the draft this year?
I can neither confirm nor deny
Oh,
that I am
yeah.
drafting him
I
this year.
I I
I am
understand. We're
I am
trying to get we're trying to get we're trying to get some details on the draft.
if I do, it's only going to be for football reasons. That is the only reason that I would ever draft or not draft Justin Tucker, and no other reasons at all. But that remains to be seen.
All right. So last part of that question. When can the fans expect to see your name pop up in the bright shining lights of the La Liga division names after the
You know,
draft?
you
After the
know, I got a pretty busy night uh, doing nothing, but as usual with this league, you remind me of things and I do them. So probably not that long from now.
That's why they call me the commish. All right, Isaac, we're gonna go into our first segment of today. Our first segment is brought to you by Hims Men's Products. And Hims, this segment is called the Fully Torqued Move of the Round. So round two, fully torqued move of the round, and we're gonna have to give it to Kenneth Steinhauser. Fully torqued, he moves up in round two. He swaps picks with you in the second round to pick his guy, Ashton Genty. Picking, not only do we call it the fully torqued move of the round because he moves up, the first person to move up in the draft, but he also picks two RBs. He's going zero wide receiver in the first two rounds. How do you feel about that? What do you think about that? Zero wide receiver in the first two rounds. Are you into that type of decision or?
Seems like Nelly might have some opposition to the idea.
Yeah.
I don't blame her. Ken has always been a guy to zag when everyone else zigs.
Yeah.
So perhaps, he's run the numbers and knows something we don't know. That said, um, starting a dynasty league feels a little risky to me to load up on running backs, but
Yeah. Understood.
Ken's the
What
man.
what was running through your head when you saw that offer from Ken? Were you Were there other offers on the table out there? Were you, was that were you sold on it right away, or did there take some convincing for that swap?
I liked what Ken's offer would have allowed me to do in subsequent rounds. Also, Ken did a really good job of explaining to me how switches work, which is a thing that other people offering me switches did not do as good of a job to.
Yeah, yeah,
Future note for people that want to make deals with me, I don't know how this stuff works very well.
well, you heard it here first, folks. Isaac does not know what he is doing. Great insight, Isaac. I really appreciate that. How do you feel about your picks? So you move back in the second round and you get some good value. You know me. I love value. I love good value. You're looking at Jaden Daniels in the second round. Now his ADP is quite a bit higher than where he went. So how do you feel about that?
I know there's been some controversy about the sleeper drafts ADP statistics. That said, Kevin was the first one to take a quarterback in the first round.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was also myself wanting to, get a quarterback likely early. Jane Daniels had a great season last season. Starting a dynasty league, he's a young buck. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel very good about bringing him onto the squad.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you say Jaden Daniels has that dog in him?
I'm no veterinarian, so I couldn't say for sure what kind of animals are inside him. But, if there were to be one, it definitely would not be an indigenous mascot. That's for sure.
You heard it here first. He is a commander through and through. All right. Thank you so much. Next, we're gonna switch up gears here. We're gonna talk about not talking players. We're talking GMs. We're talking coaches. We're talking the East Division. Isaac, you've been a member of the East Division for as long as anyone can remember. So let's talk a little bit about that East Division rivalries. Trade partners. You traded in division with Kenneth. How does that play out with you personally, with your relationship with other East Division GMs?
To be honest, Aaron, I think they probably all think I'm a sucker. But little do they know that cultivated this carefully confused exterior for my own nefarious purposes. I think this East Division is, a gritty group of gritty white guys that will all be really gritty this
Yeah.
season, and thus I
Yeah.
expect nothing but the grittiest of gritty competition.
Yeah. So we're thinking gym rats. We're thinking coaches' sons. Is that what you would say about this division? Hard workers.
I
First one in the
coaches.
gym. If you it, were you would you say that let's say Tom Gage? Do you think you'd be the first one in the gym or the last one out the gym?
He's certainly the first one to close down the gym, perhaps not for working out, but
I think the locker room one time might have been flooded by Tom Gage. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that was a women's bathroom. I'm not sure.
I can
But
neither confirm nor deny.
all right. Well, we're gonna move on. Speaking of bathrooms, we're gonna move on to our final segment. Our final segment is brought to you by Pepto Bismol. It is the runs of the round. Pepto Bismol runs of the round. We're talking the run on the quarterbacks halfway through the round. Pepto Bismol, that pink drink that you get when you got the runs. Grab that Pepto Bismol. Isaac, you started the run on QBs halfway through round two with Jaden Daniels. Subsequent picks, Jalen Hurts by Michael Wolf, and then Tommy Lasers with Joe Burrow. How do you feel about that run? Do you feel like you were the person who really kickstarted that run on QBs?
Um, you know, we all go out there every day and just, put our pants on one leg at a time and try to do our best at drafting. I don't want to underestimate my influence on the rest of the league, and I'm sure after Jaden Daniels dropped a little bit, perhaps I encourage other folks to grab quarterbacks as well. That said, the top three quarterbacks are all younger, good long-term prospects. So those guys were going to go sooner or later, no matter what. That said, I do not going to dismiss that I'm a trendsetter of sorts.
Yeah. We do say, you mentioned Desmond taking Josh Allen, Uncle Jerry taking Lamar Jackson at the end of the first round. But, I think it's significant to see those three quarterbacks come off because that tier is kind of gone now. So we'll see what happens in subsequent rounds. Um, Thanks so much for your insight, Isaac. Um, that's it for questions today. Any final thoughts, Isaac, on the second round of the draft so far?
Thank you for having me on the show today, Aaron. And
Pleasure.
I look forward to the day where Nelly can ask me questions instead.
Oh, fantastic. Well, with that, remember, folks, have a great day, and don't forget to kiss the commish. See you next time.